for those of you who don't understand the draft that is happening right now, we wanted to make sure that this is a draft that all girls can get catered to because most of us are not as diverse as, Poppy Paw or Marine Lord. So we don't have 20 civilizations in our arsenal, even the ones that don't exist yet. We only have 2 to 3, some of them only 1. So we wanted to make sure that there's a system where they can only choose, or they can only have to choose 2 civilizations, but there's still a way to get rid of those civilizations that you just have a brain block against. For me, oof, that's a lot of civilizations, but probably Mongols. Yes, that would be mine in every matchup. Cal, all the way up there in Conqueror 3, what is the civilization that you would be avoiding?
Sushi. Every day. I mean, usually actually playing against Sushi is not the worst because they're usually just elo inflated anyways. But other than that, I don't know, but Sushi is pretty strong right now, and I don't know, it also feels a little bit weird to play against Ottomans just because they're pretty strong as well.
Well, in our case, this is going to be an absolute distraction from both of these players because I know that Bella is really good at Ottomans. She's been playing this on one of her alt accounts, so not on the main. So we will see if Byzantines can take her down. Now, I know Bella is someone who kind of crumbles under pressure if you keep raiding. So this is going to kind of determine the outcome of, her late game. The problem is Byzantines isn't seen as a very strong civilization right now. So we're not going to be able to, have the best insight into the balance, but we do know at most of our ranks that does not matter. We're not losing because the civ is under balance. We're rather losing because we make mistakes.
Yeah, and we saw the game from Angelica yesterday where Angelica actually played the Mongols, and she was consistent and very brutal on those raids, just having Kishiks just burning down against Geology's walls. It was really just knocking on those walls until the bubble finally popped, and, well, Angelica just took over the game. So I'm actually kind of expecting that the similar strategy from Angelica here on Byzantines. I would suspect, because I am favored, not biased by the way, against the Hippodrome and not the Winery. And if we do see a Hippodrome play from Angelica, I think it's going to be pretty brutal actually for Bella to actually survive against that.
If I get to play against Hippodrome, I know that I love having a few spearmen in my base, just making sure that things stay afloat. Once you have a spearman in your base, you can counter any Hippodrome unit that comes towards you. So I don't know if the Hippodrome is going to do the damage it needs to do against a civilization like Ottomans.
Yeah, we'll have to see though. Again, right, Byzantines, they do get that Hippodrome, get that stable basically for free, but also Ottomans get that spearmen and get those military schools and get free spearmen instead of actually having to pay for their units. So we'll have to see if Bella, I'm suspecting something to happen there. We're just going with the military school and harassing, and also using those to defend against those initial Hippodromes. So Grand Winery still on the cards, but preferably not biased Hippodrome.
Is this just a thing that I see in my rank where absolutely everyone is going Hippodrome, or does this happen all around the ranks as well?
I think the further up you go the ranks, to be fair, the further up you go the ranks, the more you actually start to go against Grand Winery, because it is a really good landmark. And one thing that is hard to do with the Byzantines, and kind of why you need to have a PhD to actually play this civilization properly, is actually their mercenaries, right? You need to get that olive oil going, and get that olive oil going earlier means that you can go for Grand Winery, but it is a little bit greedier of a play.
Now, guys, I'm going to ask Cal to quickly switch to the one caster view. I need to go deal with something because Beastie is deaf. Be right back.
Fair enough. All right, I actually don't have a... That's a lie. I actually don't. I only have a one caster scene for her, not me. We'll just pretend that the one is here. No, I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup though. Both civs, as I said, is going to be having some really early aggression. And well, that was solved really quickly.
Yes, my mother-in-law was at the door and Beastie was raiding in World of Warcraft, as you know. Whamen tournament raid. Now how it goes. World of Warcraft, baby. Sorry.
I mean,
But
one's more important than the other, right? Not biased. But yeah,
not biased.
let's have a look at the player cards, though. We can bring those back up, and we actually do see Bella there, being French and English, and Angelica with that Mongol Rus and Abbasid. So we actually did see that Mongol a little bit yesterday. So we'll see how that goes today, if she will ever be able to pick up that Civ.
Now, Bala is a very interesting case as a player because we did see, like you saw earlier, the Ottomans being the pick, which is not in her arsenal as official civilizations because she does have a few tricks up her sleeve, being able to go to different civilizations, and she has a few accounts that she's practicing on, as most of us do. But Bella, being Brazilian, she's moved to Germany. She's lived in Europe for a very long time, multilingual, and also good at Age of Empires. Even though she does crumble a little bit under pressure from raids, she is also the raid queen. However, Angelica is also one of those. Both of these players are very, very aggressive. So I believe the player that gets the most aggression off will probably be the one that makes the other one fall the quickest. So this is a pretty even matchup right now.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. We'll be hopping straight into game number 1 of this best of 3 series. Let's see how that goes.
And we see our wonderful #1 scout from Bala, purple. Beautiful color for a beautiful lady. And the Ottomans is the Ottomans is choosing an interesting scouting pattern. Realizes there's no sheep up top. Tries to make a little sneaky circle. And honestly, where are the sheep all of a sudden? The sheep just decided that they're spawning elsewhere.
Yeah, so cliffside, a little bit interesting, right? We have sheep that's usually along the cliff side. So actually the side, they actually don't spawn that much in the middle. But we'll have to see how that one goes. Both players picking up their sheep and kind of just chilling right now.
Well, I mean, this is not. Angelica is also not drowning in them right now. I mean, when I play this map, I always feel like, oh, just enough sheep to take it for a really, really, really nice spin. But I'm really hoping that this is looking a little bit better for Bella, as Angelica is snacking on that first sheep in a base, second sheep going down. And I feel like Angelica has just grabbed more territory at this point. It doesn't look like Bala knows this, and she's gonna send her scout there, not getting enough resources. But luckily, she's Ottomans, right? She does have that landmark that will give her a little bit of food, but that does not last forever.
Yeah, I mean the Ottomans as well, right? They get that free food from that twin minaret madrasa. So that means they can sustain a little bit longer as well, right? We also have, yeah, Byzantines. They usually go for the cheaper farms, get those pretty early on, usually.
Now,
Yeah, go ahead.
Byzantines, do you always have to go outside for food, or are the farms something you can easily transition to because of that extreme economy boost because of the cisterns?
I mean, they are cheaper, right? So you can easier transition to them. They're still a little bit like more expensive, for example, than the English farms that you have usually, right? You have, I think they're, oh, I don't remember on top of my head. I think it's 37 compared to the 60. So they're still expensive, and we do actually see that hippodrome that we were discussing on earlier.
So when we get a hippodrome, we know there's going to be aggression, and like I said earlier, I have a situation where Bala does have those passive units, aka spearmen, to deal with the exact units that the hippodrome pushes out. However, the hippodrome horsemen are not just any horsemen; they are healy horsemen. They can heal themselves, so they can also just survive a little bit better. They're really good at raiding, but I love to see that Bella is actually using that spearman perfectly. Going to disrupt the economy just a little bit without losing it. Oh, and Angelica does react pretty quickly to these types of situations, but let's see if Bella can make that spearman count even more. Right now, idle time, baby.
So is pulling back. Has 100 gold here, so could be used for some upgrades or something like that. Usually you want to see, for example, the double broadaxe with 100 gold. If you're able to, and you're getting pressured like this, for example, from a spearman, if you're a little bit greedy, you're not going to go into some immediate raids, for example, or getting some immediate raids upon you. You can be a little bit greedy, trade a little bit of HP to actually get 100 gold or 150 and get some eco upgrades pretty early on.
Now, when you're playing Byzantines, is there no initial desire for that gold, for the upgrades that early on, like you said? Because now we have a very idle economy, and it doesn't look like she cares too much. She's like, hey, let me just get a horseman out. I'm gonna send that guy over to raid anyway. The spearmen can do what they want. I have a villager I can go repair. But how important are those early upgrades for Byzantines?
I mean, as highlighted, that Angelica is getting, we have Expilatores, which means that worker horse damage versus workers increased by 2, and workers killed by the horseman reward 20 gold. So if you get that early kills and a little bit of damage on Ottomans here, if Bella is not very careful, could be detrimental really quickly, but also Angelica needs to be careful not to trade away the horseman for nothing.
Now, what I know about Bella, because we played a 2v1 against Beastie a few months back, and every time Beastie would come into the base and raid with a knight, she would lose one villager, and she would just say, I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead, and she would have lost one villager. So I know how big the panic can be, and I'm glad to see that she's clicking those quite fast when the horseman comes in. So back then, I think the reaction speed was maybe a little bit slower, but you can already see that has improved. And that is the whole point of what we want to see today. We want to make sure that we see what people might be struggling with so we can know what they want to improve for the future and we can help them get there. With Bella getting both upgrades as well now, Ottoman's economy is going to start looking quite nice.
Yeah, could have actually stayed a little bit longer on a gold, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier. If you just have those spearmen sitting back on your gold here, there's no harassment that could possibly come in from Angelica here with that hippodrome. But we do have a nicely done here, getting double product, getting wheelbarrow, making sure you get the eco upgrades, and spearmen positioned nicely here on the stone.
And the reaction is there. I mean, they were standing there ready for a fight, but Angelica gets out with a little bit of HP.
No.
I said it too soon, but she does want to keep them off of stone. And this, even though she lost the horse, the fact that she can get some idle time is good for her because she needs to delay these military schools as much as possible. Now, keep in mind, chat, these units from Ottomans are passive. If they get time, they will produce a lot of them. So the Ottoman death ball, the more you wait, the more they come. So she knows she needs to do damage. She needs to cause idle time. She is the one who needs to be the aggressor. And Bella can just sit back and get her army mass up.
We do have the Vizier point coming in. It is going to be those sheep, so going to be having extra 8 sheep here underneath the town center, as well as getting some increased mining speed here. So that does mean that it gets a little bit easier to get that stone and get that gold once that gets going as well.
Oh.
So now is a little bit of a problem here for Bella, though. No Sipai out, only spearmen. They are upgraded to hardened spearmen at least. It's going to be really tough to hold against, actually.
This is so dangerous because now Angelica does have a lot of archers, which you guys know. Archers are pretty good against spearmen, and that's exactly what you want to have. But she does build a stable, hoping to get that Sipahi out as soon as possible. But I think she's going to lose a few spearmen in the works. She did, however, lose a unit or two at the top there, but it caused a lot of idle time, and I think it may have paid off. These archers need to be microed a little bit better, though, because they are going to die, and they need to focus fire on those spearmen. The horse might be going down too, and she did not get the damage done she was hoping for.
Actually, a really impressive turnaround for Bella there. It was really nicely done. Having the Sipai there, it does mean that those archers are pretty squishy. Remember, we do have fortitude. Was it used? Yes, it was.
Ooh.
Now, there's an important trade-off to this. They gain 50% attack speed and receive 50% damage from melee weapons. Now, this does mean that, you know, if you're against a group of archers, that's not melee damage.
Well, there was also a very nice group of spearmen that penetrated the horse. Or actually, no, just one horse. Yeah, Bella was able to run that horse into a lot of archers and just one horse counterattacking it. So even though you're doing more damage, you're taking just a little bit more damage in that death ball. that is the Byzantines right now. But Angelica did not get the damage she's hoping for. And we can see that she's walling off in her base slowly as well. She's finally getting her upgrades a little bit on the tower. She's getting her Keshiks, Gulams, and elephants, I believe.
Yeah.
Me and Byzantines not the best of friends.
So we do see some questions in chat about how the civ draft works. So one thing we actually kind of glossed over. If you win with a civilization in a series, you can't pick it again. So that means you have to win on 2 separate civilizations to actually win in a series. And we're just doing that to make sure that, you know, we get a little bit of variety in what we see. And we just make sure we don't have English mirrors all the way.
Yeah, the problem is when you're just starting out with the game. I know that a lot of people have their go-to civilizations, and for most of us that is English. So we're hoping to see some diversity. The map pool was also chosen that way so that English is just not advanced, has the advantage on every map. But miraculously, we only had one.
Get the pinch, gets the skill kill though, gets 20 gold for their troubles. Can they actually get out of this one though? Angelica, targeting down the low HP space. Very beautifully done. That's how you trade units.
I love the little clap. Okay, well, now she's getting the damage, but is it enough? Is it enough for that Ottoman death ball? Remember, that now it's 16-15, and Bala did have a lot of idle time. So we're hoping to see how that does impact the game. Angelica not getting any economic upgrades, though. She's floating 400 gold, and for those of you in the chat, if you're floating 400 gold without a plan, you better use it. We want to see double broadaxe. We want to see wheelbarrow. She's getting a hardened limited A coming in. But make sure that you get your economic upgrades, because the faster you get them, the faster you'll get more of them.
Yeah. So we could have seen a double broadaxe. We could have seen wheelbarrow. Would have been exceptionally helpful here. We do have, and as well, we could have actually gotten border settlements, which is a really good upgrade. But Angelica, instead of being consistent on raids and not being consistent on getting those eco upgrades, but we have some damage in return here. Seeing if they can pick up some of the reinforcements that are coming in.
Now, this is one thing that I know I can instantly spot with sassy coaching for Bella, because I know he helps her a lot with any of the things that there might be wrong. He always encourages her, make sure to have a tower next to your resources, and we see it right there, especially when you're against the raiding civilization. Now, making sure that you don't have too many villages, also very important, but look at those horses in the wood line. They are doing so much work right now. We already have 4 villager kills for Angelica, and she is giving Ottomans a really hard time.
Yeah, she's being consistent on these raids. When we talked about it earlier, right? We could have seen a lot of these raids coming in, and we do see a lot of these raids coming in, and it's just raid heaven here. Military being a little bit out of position here. Angelica could lose a villa or 2, but actually saves all of them.
Just in time. And I think she's going to take that and be like, oh, I need to probably put these in the right position. Because again, like we said, both of these players love to raid, and they are doing a great job at that. Just keeping it. Ooh, that is a bunch of villagers without protection, girl. And a 2 villager lead is great, but not when your other villagers are about to run into a bunch of horses. But she can keep these alive and find some damage on the way out.
Did lose the scout here, which does hurt a little bit. I do see a little bit in the plans here for Angelica, not producing that many units and slowly starting to creep towards Castlage. A little bit of a thing here as well. Forestry. Don't get the upgrade. Just don't get up.
No, the one thing I wanted you guys to also notice is you can see the difference in the food income. So on Bella's side, she has 1,000 food per minute, while Angelica is on half of that. Now keep in mind, that puts Bella in a position where she can say, okay, I am gonna go all in feudal with all of this. She can keep making units much faster than Angelica can. And both of these players getting pressure at the front, at the back, and keeping each other on their toes. But I feel like Bella's army is going to be very strong in feudal right now.
Yeah, it's slowly starting to creep up, right? 20 spearmen, 12 sipai. Not that many archers, but don't need that many archers, because there's not that many limitane. Does have that matter as well.
Oof, that's a lot of Sapahis. That is going to be very difficult to keep your archers alive with. I mean, when you're fighting against Limitané have the hardened ability as well, right? So when you're fighting against archers, they can activate the ability to not take as much damage. I said that with a question mark because I know that Mr. Cowell has more information on that. There we go, shield wall, hell yeah. And that'll just make them that much more survivable.
We do have do have these Sipai just running around rampant on the backside here as well, right? They were just everywhere right now, just looking, just poking, just prodding, seeing if they can find something. Angelica one step ahead of this as well, though, having that Limitane just standing around, but this is a little bit of a weak spot here. But there wasn't any unit standing and defending.
What I liked is about those spearmen just standing inside the villager mass. That was absolutely brilliant. Just learning from her previous mistake at the gold, put your position or put your units in the right position. And she does get caught off guard here, but she's quickly recovering now. Let's see if she can actually take down one of these horses. Oh, she does have is that a Keshik?
It's a Keshik.
That's a very nice Keshik. Gosh, I hate Keswick so much, but I respect what they look like. They are gorgeous. But we see the wall coming up. And this is going to mean that Angelica wants to delay those raids, at least.
Yeah,
she might not want to... Ooh, sorry.
There is some raids coming in as well. Yeah, there is. But the big thing here right now is that only 4 of these units are not with the main army. The rest is with the main army, and that main army is moving out.
And the most of Angelica's army is chasing those 4 units who are about to run into a bunch of villages at the top, while the front of the army is just looking for a way in. Oh, never mind. The Limitane are ready. She learned.
Does find a gap in the wall here as well, though. Army a little bit split here. The villager gonna go down as well before closing off the wall, and now we have a little bit of raid here. And I think Angelica is panicking a little bit because she does realize maybe she might be in a little bit more trouble than she anticipated.
So this is now where you're like, oh, I think my army is in the wrong place. And unfortunately, she rallied her villagers forward, so that's going to be 4 more villagers. Oh, stop! Not the villagers! Not the villagers! And they go down. But now this army is just looking to tower dive. And she can. Even though there are counters waiting for them, that's not enough counters. So these guys should be able to push right through. Kill all those archers in the back line. The Sapahis are looking for them, but everything else is going down as well. And this is just too big of a fight to lose. And this is the power of Ottomans. Once you get the death ball going, the army just keeps getting bigger. So you getting a 4 villager kill is great, but is it good enough to keep Ottomans at bay? Especially as a civilization like Byzantines that doesn't necessarily have that huge power spike in feudal to match that power.
And honestly, what a trade right now. Look at the destruction value. We're looking absolutely massive. Army value a little bit bugged for Byzantines, but I don't think it actually is that bugged right now, considering how little units Angelica has right now. Mutane and everything just still holding strong, losing a lot of villagers, however, because they're not being garrisoned to the T. See at all, only 2 villagers left and 33 villagers right now. We were even before this fight. It's not looking too even anymore.
I believe this is where she taps out. I know Angelica is someone who will take a moment to reflect on what she has done wrong before saying, okay, this is it. And I don't think she realizes how much army there is, but maybe she'll realize that in a moment. Oh, more villagers go down. It feels like she's just mentally checked out of this one, just waiting for her opponent to tire out her very aggressive fingers right now, hoping for the game to pass. The Vizier Point also very, very far away, so you can't even summon those. Wait. What Vizier Point did Ottomans get from that last fight? Did she... Oof, she just went for the wall production. Oh, that is a destruction. And the last villagers are about to say goodnight. The Pahi's just absolutely everywhere.
Consistent on these raids, just all over the place right now. Tower's not even up, and Angelica barely even reacting to this. Just losing more and more and more.
I mean, I think at this point she's just trying to think about what am I going to do next game? What went wrong? What is next? So let's see if that is going to be the case for a Byzantine's player being able to come back the next game. I know she has a lot of civilizations up her sleeve. So This is not going to be a massive loss for her. Byzantines is very hard. I remember when the poop came out, Angelica and I were practicing before we were allowed to stream, and she was so set on playing Byzantines, and I'm like, girl, they're just so difficult. Just get a raiding civ. And she's like, no, they are great. And she was trying to do her best on it, but Byzantines is just so easy to punish right now.
Yeah, 18 villagers, 31 army. Not exactly the distribution you're looking for when it comes to the villager to military count right now. And the same can be said for Bella, looking very, very scary right now. Going up with the Mehmed Imperial Armory as well, so gonna get those free siege units very soon. Did get siege engineering, so I'm expecting some rams to be dropped there very shortly to make sure to deal the finishing blow to Angelica.
Is this, are they going to listen to the rule of make rams? Because people have lost games running under TCs, just trying to finish. Oh, and she knows. She knows it is ram time. Because she knows how to kill people. And Bella, I hope you remember how many rams do you need? But luckily, she has enough wood for all of them.
Yes, but does she drop it though?
Oof, I really hope so. Otherwise, my 3 ram theory is gone. Maybe
Love
it's
to
only when they
see.
have a keep.
Bella does reach the castle age here. Angelica taking an engagement, needs to take this one now before it is too late, but I think it's way past that already. Limitane doing a good job taking out the medders on the front line. It's a buy. But Archer's kiting back, and yeah.
Easy distraction, as
Yeah.
Marine Lord would say. Yeah, now I want you guys to know the reason she engaged at that point is when your opponent ages up to castle, you can't wait and be like, oh, I need to make a few more units and then I'll attack them. Because by the time you get those few more units, their upgrades kick in and you are dead in the water. So, yes, well played by Mademoiselle Bella.
Yeah, good game there at all. It was a pretty spicy, but those raids from Bella was just a little bit more brutal than the raids from Angelica.
I think both of these players had that early game pressure, and it was all about who cracked first. And we saw who did it. But yes, I know Bella has consistently been practicing specifically for this. She's also someone who likes to do team games to make sure that she is not under too much of a stressful situation. And I know Angelica is a ranked only kind of girl. But yeah, let's see what the second draft is going to have in store for us.